just like you just did with the trombone, you're going to do the exact same thing with the baritone, embouchure-wise. But the only difference we have here is that the baritone is just a small mini version of a tuba. The only difference with this one is it's more of a professional or intermediate model. How do I know that? Because you got your basic valves, 1, 2, 3, but look at this one. You got an extra one. This is just in case you need to go from each note to the next. It makes for an easier transition, and it also helps with your technique as you get older along the way. For example, a C for baritone is 1 and 3. But imagine having to go from 1 and 3 from, let's say, going from a D. D, yeah, makes for a pretty decent transition, but now watch. As you go from a D to a C. It's the exact same thing. The only difference is you're pressing 4 instead of 1 and 3. It's a neat transition that you can try doing out every now and then. Now, before we get started, remember how I discussed earlier about bores and shanks? Well, if you look very closely at this one, you'll notice that the bore is a little bit more smaller. So, if the bore is smaller and I were to take this mouthpiece, which is a little bit more of a smaller shank, look what happens. Easy peasy. Now I have with me another one. This one is a little bit bigger on the shank. Look what happens when you have too much of a big shank. No dice. And don't try it. Students, don't even try shoving it in. Don't try forcing it in. You're only going to ruin this, you're only going to ruin this, and your director's going to be very unhappy. If you do come across not having the right mouthpiece, don't try to fix it yourself. Ask your director. He or she will fix that for you. So, with this being a smaller bore, we need our smaller shank. So, twisting it in, remember, twist it in, don't shove it in. So, we're going to make the exact same embouchure as we did with the trombone. Remember how the rim of the mouthpiece meets the gums and the teeth in between, just like French horn? And then what you're going to do is teacup, bring it up. But now that it's in your baritone, now it's time for proper seating placement. So, sitting at the edge of the chair, and what you can also do, and I also suggest this too, for a lot of my other baritone players, extend your left foot out like so, while your right foot is in like so. Right foot in, left foot out. It's still flat on the floor, but one is big, one is out than the other. Why? That's why. It makes for an easier, it makes for an easier coming up of the horn itself. If I were to have brought them in, look what happens. Pretty short, right? But when I extend, boom, it actually makes it. So, this is what we're going to do. Let's go ahead and form those embouchures. Remember, set those anchors firm the corners of your mouth and keep your chin nice and firm. Make it firm and flat. Now, proper hand placement, proper arm placement for the baritone. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oops, looks like I'm going to have to take some oil to this in a bit. So, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Just like so. The thumb is going to be placed in between the first and the second valve. Kind of like it was for the trumpet, it's going to work the same exact way for baritone. Just like so. As for your left arm, just like you're caressing a baby. Just like so. Because you want to keep this close to you at all times, because the minute you let this go a little bit further, any student or anyone could make that little slip and damage that instrument. So, this is our rest position when the conductor brings up his or her baton. Here we go. So, firm those embouchures, make your anchor, curve those, let's make those corners nice and firm. And here we go. Here's our tempo. Let's go ahead and start off with 1 and 2. 1 and 2, which makes a D. Here we go. 4 counts we're in. Let's go ahead and hold this out for a whole note. 4 counts. Here we go. 1, 2, breathe in. Here we go. Now, did you notice what happened? I was tapping with this toe, but what is resting on this leg? The baritone. So you actually heard the vibration happen there. So it's just common sense. If this one doesn't work, use the other one. So let's try it again. And 1, 2, breathe in. Here we go. 2, ready and play. Think, poo. Here we go. Last time. Now, when you tongue, be sure you don't tongue too hard, or you'll have that little, as I like to call them, brain farts happening. Although they sound more like a donkey. Now, we're going to try going from D to C. We're also going to be working on the transitions from D to C, which is 1 and 3, or D to C, which is 4. And you guys determine, as you're watching this, which do you think is better for you? Which is the more best technique? Going from 1, 2 to 1, 3, or 1, 2 to pinky, which is 4. So, half notes this time. We're going D to C, but this time we're only going to go 1, 2 to 1, 3 in half notes. Here we go. 5, 6, breathe in. Here we go. One more time. 1, 2 to 1, 3. Ready? Here we go. Now switch. 1, 2 to 4. Ready? Here we go. One last time. Here we go. 1 and 2 to 4. Now, if I was moving a little too fast for you, it's okay to pause this video and try seeing if you can try it by yourself. And then go ahead and click the play button and we can just move on from there. So we went from D to C. Now we're going to go D, C, D to E. So, kind of like what we just did earlier in our high brass sections where it was D to C, or in this case, E to D for trumpet, we're going to go D, C, D, then E. E this time is going to be our first finger. D, C, D to E. All in half notes. Here we go. And for this transition from D to C, we'll go ahead and just use 1 and 3 for right now. You can practice the 4th later on and see if that makes it much more easier for you. Here we go. 1, 2, ready and play. We're going to try that again. And ready and play. Very good. Now, kind of like what we did earlier, now we're going to introduce our open B flat for, of course, baritone. For trumpet, it would be an open C, which is technically their concert B flat. But for us, it's going to be an open B flat. Remember, trumpet to baritone fingerings, all you got to do is just think a major second down. And that's what's going to be your fingering. So here we go. So the fingerings are going to go 1, 2, 1, 3, open, 1, 3, 1, 2, 1. Or you can say the note names, which is D, C, B flat, C, D, E flat. Notice how I said E earlier, and so scratch that. It's actually an E flat, not an E natural. So don't forget that. We're in the concert B flat scale, so 2 flats, B flat and E flat. Little correction on my part. So here we go. Open, B flat. Here we go. 1, 2, ready, here we go. Here we go. Let's try it again. Ready, think, breathe. if you were running out of breath like I did, understandable. Always give yourself at least 4 beats of breath, or if you think you're professional enough or you think you're tough enough, try to see if you can do 2 counts of breath. If you think you're even more hardcore, try 1 breath. So let's go ahead and try all together, going from D, C, B flat, C, D, E flat, and then to our last note for the first 5 notes in the concert B flat scale, which is an F. And kind of like what I showed you earlier with trumpet, trombone, the same thing for this one. Trumpet, an open C and an open G are your concert B flat and your concert F. For trombone, your concert B flat and your concert F are the same positions, the first position. For baritone, concert B flat and concert F are the same valve placements, all open. So you can even finger along with me as we start on D in half notes. D to C, 1 and 3, to an open B flat, back to 1 and 3, back to 1, 2, which is D, E flat, which is 1, and an open F, just like so. And for this exercise, we're actually going to do it twice. We're going to do the first one with our 1-3 combination for C, and then the second time we do it, we're going to try the 4th combination, just to see what you think is much more easier to do. Of course, bear in mind, if you're using a baritone that only has 3 valves, you have no choice. You're going to have to just use 1 and 3. But if you're lucky enough to have an additional valve, this could help you. So here we go. First time around, we're doing the 1-3 combination. Second time around, we're going to do the 4th combination. Here we go. And 1, 2, breathe in, 2. If you didn't quite get that F the first time, remember what I was explaining about trombone. The lower the notes, you want to open up your teeth a little bit more. The higher the notes, keep these anchors, keep your corners nice and set, but think a little bit more firm. Make this aperture, that's the opening between each of these lips, a little bit more smaller than usual. Here we go. And the last time, this is going to be with the 4th position this time. 1, 2, last time, here we go. And of course, you can pause this video anytime you want and try it by yourself. But if you were able to stay with me and if you were able to get the whole combination from 1-3C, or 4C, hey, you're already 1 step ahead of the game. Band directors, if you can already get this up and going, you're pretty much already 1 step ahead in teaching your beginners, or at least non-brass band directors. You're 1 step ahead of teaching your brass students on how to get started. So, if you like this video, be sure to click the like button. Or if you have a question, or if you just feel like you just need a little bit more questions, feel free to message me. Feel free to comment below. Of course, let's keep them nice. Let's keep them PG rated, guys, because we do have children watching this. So, shoot me a text, shoot me a comment. I'll be more than happy to answer something if I didn't cover it. Thank you guys so much, and as we say in Texas, y'all come back now, you hear?